to my head.
This is me. As you can tell, I've always had a camera in one hand and food in the other. And this is my grandpa, who always encouraged me to do both. Aside from seeing the amount of rubbish he kept, under the excuse, "You'll never know when you'll need it," I didn't really know a lot about my own grandpa, so I set out to find out as much as I could. His life began during World War II in Firsbury Road, London, with his parents Rosina and Fred Bennett, and his siblings. His dad drove buses throughout the 40s and through to the 60s. The old kind, the red London buses. During this time, however, they were evacuated to Froyle, Hampshire. I found that they lived in Ivy Cottage and went on a mission to find the recently sold house. It took me a while to find it by foot, and once we finally stumbled across the tiny house, I realised how beautiful it was. Then I travelled to the Hen and Chicken, which is where Freddie would wait to go to school every morning whilst they lived there. We know very little about the next part of his life. All we know is that he was shot with a rifle that entered through his back and exited through his chest. If it had been 2 inches further left, it would have killed him instantly. He had always promised to tell me the real story on his deathbed, but unfortunately he never got the chance. So we have 4 theories. He told his daughters that it happened during the war. He also said it was a gamekeeper's accident. Some say it was a childhood accident, shot by a young friend whilst playing. But by far the most interesting is that, being known as a bit of a ladies' man, he was shot by a farmer after a rendezvous with the farmer's wife. Freddie then returned to London in what I've discovered was a way to escape the many heartbroken ladies he had left in Froyle. However, this is not confirmed. His parents and him then returned to Froyle, where they lived in Westbourne Road. It's up to you. This is where he met my grandma, Jenny, in 1964, after purposely spilling her drink in the Horns pub, Croydon. She says that he told her he was going out on the pool the next day on his Triumph motorbike, but if she waited for him at the bottom of the drive, he would pick her up and take her out. She was 17 and he was 24. He took her to the Palace Cinema in Alton, where she said she wanted to watch The Sound of Music, but he had secretly bought tickets to watch The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, without her knowing. The Sound of Music just wasn't his sort of film. It's up to you. I rode to Alton Football Club, where he played from 1963 to 1967, mainly, with friends and family that we still know today. He had a collection of medals and was captain of the team, although trouble seemed to follow him everywhere, as he was caught signing to 2 different clubs, which was strictly not allowed and was featured in the newspaper. At the time, he drove a Morris Minor, which came in particularly handy when my grandma became pregnant with my mum, Sharon, and later my auntie, Tracy. At this time, he worked in Courage's brewery in Alton, which is now Coors Light, where he'd work hours and hours to afford to take his children on holiday every year. At one point, they had to move him from the kegging department to another department because he'd been drinking pints and pints of beer a day, yet driving home. Sadly, in 1978, his mother died, and she was placed in a cemetery near the home. Once his father died, he was added as well. Grandpa never once visited the grave, he just couldn't bring himself to do it. Throughout this time in his life, Jenny and Freddie were going on some adventurous and beautiful holidays to places like Cyprus, Greece and Austria.
Say hello. So we're in Czechoslovakia.
This is when he started to film on his Super 8 camera to capture their time together. They argued like any other couple, but they loved each other dearly.
Very nice.
Red, red wine, oh, it's up to you. All I can do, I've done, so the memories won't go. The memories won't go.
Then comes me, in 2000. He loved me.
Chloe.
To my head, make me forget that I still need a soul.
However, in 2004 he became ill. Infection after infection whittled him down, with constant scares in the hospital, until January 2016, where his body gave up the fight and he died in Basingstoke Hospital on the 3rd of January.
All I can do, I've done, so the memories won't